And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Wednesday, January 20th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on a Wednesday morning. Glad to have you with us. We really have a nice day out there today. A little bit of frost, but a frosty January morning. I want to welcome Bob McDonald to talk about Cedar Stone Bank. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Well, you are here live in studio
Yeah,
today and
great.
telling us stories.
Yeah, I told you two good ones before we came on the air, didn't I?
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't like Ronald Reagan when he thought the mic was not on and ended up being hot and he made some comments. So I hope that wasn't the case.
I don't think that was the case.
Okay, good.
Bob is president and CEO, Cedar Stone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, Simple Banking, Simply Better. Well, let's continue this morning. You're on a roll.
I wasn't I? I think we'll end it right there. Well, good morning. Good to be with you, live and in person here in Studio B.
I hope you notice our social distancing is a little bit bigger, longer, whatever.
You've improved it since I was last.
We cannot reach out and touch each other.
No, we can't. But I see you've got the ruler here, the yardstick. So if you need to hit me in the head, you can still do that. I see.
Well, if somebody gets too long-winded, that might work.
Yeah, just put a hook on the end of it. Right?
Oh,
well, good to be with you. And I think what I want to spend some time on this morning is our annual Teacher of the Year program. It's not really annual. I mean, it's an ongoing program. And, it is a year-long program. We work on it throughout the year, but at this point, usually in November or December, it really starts ramping up and we start getting busy with it. And that's where we are right now. There are now 32 Teachers of the Year across Wilson County in the city school, county schools, and our private schools. And this is the 23rd annual Teacher of the Year program, sponsored by us and my dear friend W.P. Bone at Wilson County Motors. And I tell you a couple things on that, Coleman, that's exciting is this time of year as I drive around the county and go by schools, you'll see on school marquees where they've identified who their Teacher of the Year.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, Coleman. It's all about recognizing and teachers and teaching. And so I'm glad to see the schools do that, and I encourage you to leave those signs up and leave those names out there. And if you don't have that on your school, please do so.
Well, this is it's really a nice recognition, and you and WP dreamed this up. I think he kind of maybe had the original idea, and you've perfected it, and now it's been, what'd you say, 20?
This is the 23rd year.
You've done it for 22, and the 23rd Teacher of the Year will be recognized here in a fairly short time.
Right. April 9, which is a Friday evening, we'll have our banquet. And what we've been doing the last 6 or 7 years, Coleman, we've gotten all the Teachers of the Year together in a room, in the boardroom up at Cumberland University. And we talk about the program, and then we break them into smaller groups. And they'll sit around the table and meet with past Wilson County Teachers of the Year and get tips and ideas on how to complete their packet.
Okay.
And so we've done that for the last, 7 or 8 years. Well, in respect to CDC guidelines and social distancing, we did that via Zoom last Thursday and Friday. We broke them up into like 8 or 10 different individuals. We had 3 different sessions, 2 Thursday, 1 on Friday, and we had past Teachers of the Year participate in that, and so they are able to interact just as they normally do, get those tips and ideas on how to complete their packet. So we enjoyed being with all 32 Teachers of the Year last Thursday and Friday, and they're just, as you can imagine, they're just outstanding human beings, and we're so fortunate to have that quality of teachers in our classrooms here in Wilson County.
Well, it's really nice of I think you and Wilson County Motors W.P. Bone to do this and continue to do it. And I don't think you have any idea of not doing it for the foreseeable future. It's going to continue.
Yeah, it's embedded in us. It's embedded in the community, and we're thankful for the support we get from the chambers of commerce and from government leaders and other business leaders, and you, Coleman. you're so nice to every year that we've been doing this. You'll have the Teacher of the Year on for a program after he or she has been named and recognized after that April banquet. So I thank you in advance for agreeing to do that again.
We'll do our best. I may have not done all of them, but we try to.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're busy too, you know.
Yeah, right.
We need to talk a little bit about banking this morning. You at Cedarstone, you have money to lend, and you're lending it right and left, I think.
We are, Coleman. Rates are good. It's a good time to be borrowing money, and we're doing that. And people are borrowing money for their business or for their homes, and we're happy with that. And we invite your listeners who have a need to borrow to give us a call. Let us talk through what we can do, and we make it simple. I mean, that's our slogan, as you know, simple banking, and so we don't make it complicated. And then, of course, we're still doing our Simply Free checking account, which is the backbone of our company.
Well, that's just been a great tool, and I don't know if some maybe have copied you, but from the beginning you've had this free checking account, and I know some others have, and others still charge, but there's no need to pay for a checking account when you get one free at Cedarstone.
That's exactly right. It is free checks, free online banking with bill pay, free ATM use anywhere in the world. So come and see us, and we'd be honored to be your bank and open that account for you.
Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, all on Highway 70. All the buildings look similar. Great design by Mike Manis, I believe.
That's right. Good memory, and we're happy with those. And I'm happy about your upcoming program. You got a good guy here coming up with you. I've known him for 26 years, and he's a heck of a great guy. I look forward to listening.
We'll let everybody stay in suspense for another 30 seconds.
Thanks, Coleman.
Thank you. Bob McDonald, President, CEO, Cedarstone Bank. Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, simple banking, simply better. 10:30 after the hour. Mark Hinesley joins us this morning from the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well. It is good to see you. And I'll tell you what, you look more like the traditional banker this morning than Bob does.
Boy, if I just had their money to loan out and collect interest on, that'd be great. So appreciated his remarks about the Teacher of the Year. 23 years they've been doing that. And my goodness, I remember going to the first one, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, somebody will correct me if I am, but I believe Fran Moscardelli, or his wife, was the first.
Alexi
Moscardelli was the first recipient, and it just grew and grew and grew. And I'm glad that they're finding a way to still do that this year because, goodness gracious, with everything they've been through, I'm sure they wish they could give a Teacher of the Year. There might even be some parents that would get it this year. I don't know, but boy, I bet you when they went to school and said, I want to be a teacher, they never saw 2020 coming. So I'm glad that they do that. They deserve the award, and we can't thank them enough right now for what they're doing.
And I hope things are going to get better. I know the governor and the legislature got a special session even now to try to improve the situation. But mainly, if we could just get back into the classroom and do in the normal way, what was normal at least, we really had a good thing going. We've had a lot of improvising that's had to be done, and there's some that probably have fallen through the cracks here. Maybe not. It's just different, and it's hard to adapt sometimes.
It'd be like an auto mechanic working on your car while the engine's running. I mean, I don't see how they do it, to be honest with you. And even if you don't have kids in the school, or even no kids in the school, it's impacting, every family, every business, every church, every school. It's just incredible, and I'm sure that others hope we get to more predictable days sooner rather than later.
Good. Well, I got to remember to describe Mark Hinesley as the, I believe, President and CEO, which is Chief Encouragement Officer.
Yeah, and that's right. And I was thinking, we don't get hung up on titles. We actually changed it just to be more consistent with chambers across Tennessee. So, but I guess it was 1996, 25 years ago. I was the board chair for the chamber. That's the volunteer position. And if I'm not mistaken, that same year, Pat Bone was the board chair for the Lebanon Chamber. Mm-hmm. And I believe she was a bit of a trailblazer, and that I think that's the first woman that was the chamber at least of the pictures that I can see hanging in their beautiful offices. So
I believe that's right.
lots changed since then.
Yeah.
Lots changed since then. But we're kind of taking a look at 2020. There were a lot of good things that happened despite many of our challenges. Didn't turn out to be quite as bad. It didn't turn out to be near as bad fiscally as what some people thought. Mount Juliet sales tax up another almost $750,000 over last year, the same month, probably pushing $4 million more in sales tax collections than the same 5 or 6 months last year. April and May were a little iffy, and the sky's falling, but boy, did the citizens of Wilson County come out and embrace shop local, spend your money at home. The sales tax collections were just absolutely incredible. The banks got together and gave it another push with the TN community, the shop local, Small Business Saturday, just a number of things. And I hope that that's one of the good things that continues in Wilson County into 2020 and way beyond. I hope it's a habit now to shop local first.
Okay, well, look at the clock. It is time for us to take a break already. So let's do that.
I'll take a breath, collect my thoughts, and see you in a minute.
And Mark has got all kind of notes here. I don't think you ever get through all of them, but we'll give it our best shot here.
I'll just roll them to the next month.
Okay. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:16. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford. That regular oil change $24.95 up to 5 quarts of oil. Tax and disposal $16.73. West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Here comes that traffic now out of Dixon County on I-40 eastbound, passing 840, headed up through Kingston Springs, arriving there into West Nashville. Still not too bad as far as interstate accidents. 2200 block of Dickerson Pike in East Nashville. That wreck is being cleared as we speak. Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies will be hosting Sleep of the Sharks March 27th. You can find out all the details at ripleysAquariumofthesmokies.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Caring for a loved one is as natural as the weather. But just like the weather, one moment it's sunny, and the next you find yourself in the middle of a storm. So when it came time to take care of my dad, I knew I needed help. A reprieve from the storm, so to speak. That's when I found the Pavilion Senior Living. They have expertise and experience to weather the storms in your loved one's life. And now I can rest easy. Thank you, Pavilion Senior Living. You should visit thepavilionseniorliving.com to find out more.
Gregory Dental in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from University Medical Center. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us on Wednesday morning, and Mark Hines was with us. Mark, pick up where we left off.
Well, we were talking about board members, board presidents, things like that, and I certainly want to thank our outgoing 2020 board chair, Galen Wilson. She is in her 7th year serving on the board of directors for us, and she's very engaged with Leadership Wilson, everything going on. She's a true public servant. I'm not sure she knew what she was signing up for either when she said, I'll be the board chair next year. She, in her remarks last year at the annual banquet, she said, one of her comments was, the only thing that really stays the same is change.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. Not only get used to it, but embrace it. Little did we know, just a few weeks later, oh my goodness, things were going to change. But the board elected Gerard Bullock to serve as our chair-elect this year, and our board chair is Lee Campbell with Pinnacle Financial, and I believe he still has nearly 6 months left on his term of being the board chair for Leadership Wilson. So we've got a great team. We added 3 new board members. Nixon Presley and Peter Schuler rolled off, and Tracy Pope with Vanderbilt, Julie Rooswald with Basic Marketplace, and Tina Presley, who may be also on the board of Leadership Wilson, are the 3 new board members. And so we did a virtual swearing in. It'll be part of the video and the presentation that we go live at our annual banquet a week from tomorrow at noon on the 28th. It'll probably last about an hour, but it's videos, pictures, music. It's a virtual annual banquet, so we'll see how that goes.
This is something totally new and different for
Oh,
your
yeah.
business.
It seems like every day is totally new, but don't get used to it because it'll be different next week. But obviously couldn't get that many people.
Well, you had, if my memory's right, it was in February last year.
Ours is always the fourth Thursday of January.
Okay,
So,
well,
yeah,
all right,
Lebanon, I think, trails, theirs is usually scheduled.
Well, it was almost February,
Yeah, that's
but I
right.
remember attending. And
It's usually, you can always look back and see the weather, and it's always on the coldest night of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Although I remember coming to the Lebanon Chamber Banquet one time when it was at the James E. Ward Ag Center, long before the expo was built. But, oh boy, people started getting nervous because there was snow, and then more snow, and then more snow. And, they tried to look out, seeing the snow, standing in the buffet line or whatever, but that was an adventure. So, ours is usually on the coldest night of the year. But
well, these are good times. They're times they're memorable times, especially for people who receive honors and are distinguished by such.
That's right. And this year, given, the events that happened on March the 3rd, and then, gee whiz, we were still directing traffic and securing damaged buildings and homes, and then the pandemic hit with just in a couple of weeks. And, that's, that changed everything. But it was difficult to do things the way we used to do it, and we had always done it. So we broke from the norm, and this year we're going to recognize, I think, 10 or 11 chamber champions. So many people, literally thousands and thousands of people pitched in, helped out. Many still are. There are ongoing programs for long-term recovery in Wilson County. But we've done some little tribute videos. We've got them to share their remarks and thank the people in their departments. We've got lots of pictures, some music. It should be an entertaining and lively hour to watch it live, Facebook Live, 12 noon. On Thursday, the 28th. We'll roll it again at 6 o'clock at night.
Okay, all right. Now that's a week from tomorrow.
That's correct.
At noon.
That's right.
And on Facebook.
That's right. Yep.
Right.
So we have unlimited seating. So pull up a comfortable chair and join us for an hour of what we hope is.
And if you miss it at noon.
Yes.
6 o'clock.
That's correct.
6 p.m.
And
same way on Facebook.
And then after that, it'll be posted on our YouTube channel for eternity. So. If you want to wait on a discount ticket, go ahead. I guess you could wait and see it later. But
so really, there's no reason that a person can't see it,
right.
even if you miss it at noon or 6 p.m. next Thursday. It's still going to be available.
And we're hoping to leave them wanting more. Yeah. But you mentioned good, bad things will change a little bit. There are some remarkable things that have happened, and I hope they continue. There are some things that I hope we never have to deal with again. But I think those that can separate the two continue to do the things that made a difference in a positive way. There's a lot of benefits for it down the road, and I see some of those changes that are already ingrained in us. Zoom is incredible. It's not for everything. It's not good at all, to be honest with you. If you want fellowship and collaboration in terms of being in the same room, it'll never replace that. But what it does do is if the flow of information, if it's just a presentation or an update, news, some things like that, you can work through a board meeting. Attendance is significantly better, almost 100% at board meetings. If people don't have to leave their office, they can still attend a meeting. Telemedicine, they cleared the path for that. I see personal experience where, hey, this is great. And we might have got there someday, but it was going to take a little while. So, we had 200 new business licenses in Mount Juliet in 2020, and the chamber got 100 new members last year. I brought a list of businesses that I could just take 5 seconds and mention each one, and we won't have enough time, that are either on their way, under construction, have letters of intent, or are shopping around right now. So space in Mount Juliet doesn't stay open very long. That's good if you're a landlord. price. I mean, it's not terribly it's not as cheap as it was even a few years ago, but it's worth it because, as I mentioned earlier, Wilson County residents have really embraced shopping local. I think they're seeing that, we've been wanting to sell Girl Scout cookies or pecans in front of Lowe's. We want them to sponsor our Little League teams and, our ball clubs and stuff. And probably never has it been more important to, in a sense, return the favor. Those, it's not some distant, far-off owner. These are the people that live in our neighborhoods. Our kids go to school together. We worship with them in church. They volunteer in the community. So I just think that's been an incredible positive thing to come out of it. I hope it continues, and I think it will. I think it will because I think people see the benefit, the extra funds that are being generated with those additional sales tax that goes right into the schools to help the teachers, some very, very deserving teachers. They get more money in their paycheck. They spend some of that money. Sales tax continues to climb. It's just that upward snowball effect that permeates through the whole county. And we have wise stewards of our resources. Our elected officials are very fiscally responsible. They are very engaged, accessible, transparent, and I think there's a real confidence that our money's being spent wisely. I think that has a lot to do with why the sales tax passed. It did overwhelmingly. So it's not all doom and gloom, I can tell you that.
Well, I think we owe a debt of gratitude to the chambers of commerce, too. People like you, Melanie, and the others over the years, but especially here of late. The chamber's presence is very much felt and I think very much appreciated.
Well, someone once told me the Chamber of Commerce in any community is the most powerless organization there is. At the end of the day, we don't make anything. We don't sell anything. We transfer information. We connect people. We support businesses. We promote shop local. And I tell folks, if the Chamber of Commerce dissolved today and on Monday morning there was no Chamber of Commerce, by Monday afternoon, business people would be getting together going, we got to work together on these issues. We can do a whole lot more together than we can separate. And by Tuesday morning, there'd be a Chamber of Commerce again. They've been around probably since the Roman times, if you want the truth
You
of that.
said most powerful, powerless.
Yeah.
If that's not an oxymoron.
I know it. Yeah. I can't, and I'm sure every chamber person could that's ever come close to, working in a chamber would vouch for me that we get invited to so many different things and so many different committees. And I think there's groups of people that say, okay, we got to get together. Well, call the chamber. And if I asked them, what do we do? I don't know. My kids, all they ever saw me do for the first 20 years I worked there was go to meetings, eat free food, and send emails. I mean, Daddy, what do you do? This has got to be the best gig in town. So, it is challenging, but in a lot of ways, a chamber membership is maybe like an insurance policy in a sense. You pay your premium, kind of hope you never need it. But when you do, i.e. tornado, pandemic, oh boy, everybody wants to cash in their policy at the same time. All those years of, hey, call me if I can help you. Oh boy, we need another phone line. It's been kind of crazy.
Well, you really make some great points here, but the chamber is really a vital cog. It just is.
Oh, I think there's hopefully it's a lot of people spend a lot of money to support it, and they have a choice. We're not like the utility. They don't have to pay that bill when it shows up, but they do it because they see results. And when I first started this job, our original chamber director, Betty Stevens, told me every business in town, whatever town it is, any town USA, every business in town benefits from the Chamber of Commerce, but don't expect them all to pay dues because they either haven't been asked to join, maybe they didn't actually see the benefits of it. But I'd like to think that behind the scenes there's there's so much work that gets done and so many good things happen. And you heard some of the board members, I mean, we're so intertwined with, you know, the nonprofit organizations, leadership, Wilson, our elected officials, prospects that are coming in. It's so rewarding to have somebody come in and ask about, Wilson County. Hey, I'm thinking about moving here. Gosh, if I can get them face to face, I think they'll call their realtor and say, we're staying in Wilson County. We love it here. And it's all connected. You have to have the money to pay for the police so you can have a safe environment. You got to have the money to pay the teachers so you can have a good education. You take any one of those pieces out of the puzzle, and that spiral that we're on an upward can very suddenly become a downward spiral. But when you have, when you're creating wealth and the businesses are prosperous, you have employees that can spend money, people can live here, their kids can go to great schools, it's a safe environment, it's becoming more diverse economy all the time. But I will say this, I don't think there's a higher compliment that somebody moving here with a business, or even maybe more so personally, I don't think there's a higher compliment that they can pay us than to say, I could have moved anywhere I wanted to, but I did my research and I see what you guys have going on, guys and gals have going on in Wilson County, and I'm leaving everything I have, wherever it is, Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania, California, I'm coming to be with you. Everybody, every time you see a house sold or a business open, should take that as a pat on the back and a compliment to all of the work that's being done and has been done. This didn't just happen overnight. Gosh, the JECDB has been incredible. And I think that started in about 1998, or I'm not sure, maybe, no, it would have been before that, early 1990. Yeah. So with one charter change, if I'm not mistaken, they got it right. Those people, Bob was talking about, who you mentioned who designed them, I believe Nelson Steed and Steed Brothers. Yeah. For years, Nelson Steed was the board chair. And it's just, it takes so many different people working towards that same goal. And when you have local elected leaders that can paint a clear picture of what that's going to look like, Mayor Hutto, third term, he hasn't wavered one bit. Public safety, quality of life, and education, that has been the North Star since day one. And when you all know what you're aiming at and everybody's hearts and minds are open and see the benefit of it, it's absolutely incredible what can get done. And I think we're seeing that every day.
Mark, I think you've hit a home run today. It's 7:31.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, boy. Well, you wouldn't be the first one today to tell me to be quiet and go back to your cup of coffee. Hey, it's great to talk to everybody. Thank you, Coleman, for allowing me to come out here once a month. And please continue to shop local. We are making a difference.
All right, we'll see you next month. Thank you
you
so much. Mark Hinesley, Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce. And that's part one of Coleman and Company. Keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And at 7:32, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota and Rental Red Max. Complete inventory of weed eaters, blowers, hedge trimmers for the commercial user and homeowner with up to a 4-year warranty. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic. Here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's picked up quite a bit down Ellington Parkway here in the last few minutes as you make your way down from the top to the bottom. Still over there working with that crash 2300 block at Dickerson Pike in East Nashville. Traffic's on the increase now through Mount Juliet. I-40 westbound still looks pretty good coming past 840. All that traffic there headed towards Hermitage. Hey, check out the Andre Chicken Sandwich now available at Prince's Hot Chicken. 5814 Nolensville Pike. It's so worth that short drive. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
This is Bob McDonough with Cedarstone Bank. We know there are times when financial circumstances can be complicated for families and businesses, but we do not believe the solutions need to be. That's why for 15 years we've been delivering simple banking to our customers while still offering all services and products. We're thankful for our customers and the communities that we serve. If you don't bank with us, it would be our pleasure to visit with you and talk about how simple banking is simply better.
Cedarstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Defensive drivers pay attention to their surroundings. They take precaution to keep their passengers and others on the road safe. We can all be defensive drivers during COVID-19 pandemic. Today, I ask you to take the necessary precautions to keep yourselves and others safe from COVID-19. Wash your hands, social distance, wear a mask, stay at home when you're sick. Living a cautious life doesn't mean that you live in fear. It just means that you care for others. Wilson County cares. This has been a public service announcement from the Wilson County Mayor's Office.
For today's forecast, you can expect a mix of sun and clouds with temperatures topping out in the upper 40s. On Thursday, skies will be mostly cloudy with scattered showers possible. Highs on Thursday climb into the mid-50s. Friday's forecast calls for just a slight chance of rain with temperatures in the upper 40s. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, welcome to the second half. We call it part two. That's pretty easy, isn't it? Part one, part two. The hour is divided up here, but we're ready to be on the air now for Absolute Rental and Supply. Philip Etherly is here, and Philip's owned this business for 19 and a half years, be 20 years in June. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to see you as always. A little bit on the cool side, but it's typical January weather, I guess.
Yeah, I'll take this all the time. Sunny and 50 to 60, I'm good with that.
If this is as bad as it gets in January, we've had a good January.
Exactly.
Well, the number that you need to remember is 615-443-RENT, R-E-N-T. That's the number for Absolute Rental and Supply, and Philip and his group have everything to rent for you, make your life easier, from wallpaper steamers to bulldozers. And what do you got? What else you want to tell us today?
Well, like I said, we're kind of in a little slow part of the year right now. We're extremely blessed right now. There is a lot of construction going on. There's a lot of the ground conditions are right for earth moving type equipment. So there's a lot going on. So we're slower than normal, but that gives us time to do some maintenance on some equipment, make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be. But we're blessed. We've got enough business to keep everybody moving as well. So
yeah,
there's no particular thing right now or theme, like lawn aeration and overseeding or anything like that for this time of the year. But we do have a wide range of equipment. A lot of times we don't talk about the homeowner type of equipment, the building, the remodeling type projects and stuff like that, the tools that are associated with that. We've got ladders, we've got scaffolding, we have different types of saws. I'm sitting there just trying to rack off my brain on some of the smaller things we don't talk about. Right now heaters are a big thing. Yeah. We do rent a lot of heaters and stuff, but from drywall sanders to floor sanders, there's just a lot of that remodel type tools, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, if somebody's wanting something to do and wondering what they need to do, I think is just go online at absoluterental.com and just take a look at all you've got there. You probably get some ideas.
It really does, yeah. Take a look at it. The prices are right there. Do call and where we can make a reservation for you. But just give us a call if you've got a project coming up and you're looking and you're kind of wondering what it may cost or what it may be involved. A lot of times we can kind of walk you through that steps as well.
Well, you need to. If you're going to do something, you need to do it right. You need the right equipment, and chances are you don't have it, and chances are it's something you're not going to go out and buy a piece of equipment for if you don't have to. That's where you come in, and it's been working for these 19 and a half years.
It really has, and we've been blessed.
And another thing, I know you want to point this out, so many times you don't have the proper truck or truck bed or whatever trailer to haul equipment. You're glad to take whatever's being rented to the location and come pick it up when they get through.
Yeah, that's right, and it's a huge asset to our company. Is like you said, a lot of people don't have the proper size vehicle. A lot of times it's just more convenient. We try to make it very affordable. It's not like we're trying to make this a huge profit center part of our business. We want to cover our costs, but we like going to the job site. We like seeing what equipment's being used for and picking it up and so forth. So, like I said, we try to make it affordable for people where they're not thinking they're being robbed in any way. Same thing with our diesel fuel and our fuels. We charge right now we're charging $3.25 a gallon for our diesel. There's a lot of national companies that they'll charge $10, $12 a gallon for diesel. We want to fill up our equipment. We want to be the one filling it up, not the customer having to go grab a 5-gallon bucket or a 5-gallon can. Something may have been sitting there for a year, and then all of a sudden they're trying to get it filled up. we want it to be a convenience for our customer, but we also want to know what fuel we're putting in our machines. It just makes it better. So we don't try to make any money. It's not a profit center. It's not a penalty. A lot of times those national companies, it's almost like a penalty. Oh, we had to fill it up, so now we're going to charge you $10 to $12 a gallon. We don't want that. We want to be able to fill it up. So it's just kind of a convenience factor.
Well, speaking of convenience, you do have convenient hours.
Yep, from 7 to 5, Monday through Friday, and 7 to 4 on Saturdays. And, of course, as soon as daylight saving time kicks back in and the days get longer, we'll start staying open until 6.
Yeah. But it is convenient, and as you pointed out many times, at 7 o'clock in the morning, some people who might go to work at 8 can come by, get to do whatever they need to do, or in the afternoon, if we get off at 4 or 5, you're still there.
It's still there. It's very convenient.
Anything else before you go?
No, just give us a call if you have any kind of project coming up, and we just want to say we appreciate all the business in 2020. And look forward to serving you in 2021.
All right, and we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. We'll do it again.
All right, thank you.
All right. Philip Etherly, Absolute Rental and Supply, 1325 West Main. Remember that phone number, 615-443-RENT, R-E-N-T. About 21 before the hour, Lebanon Mayor Rick Bell joins us this morning. Mayor, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
How are you?
I'm good.
You are here early and on time and walking the halls and looking at all of Susie's pictures while we talk to Mark Hinesley.
Well, there's a lot of history out here, and of course, I'm still a historian. And
there's a lot of history regarding Mr. Barry, Bill Barry, her stepfather who owned WAMB and I don't know how many other radio stations in his lifetime, but she has done him proud, I think, with some of the stuff that's on the walls here from WAMB and when he used to have some of those big band dances and all that.
Well, he's a radio icon around here, yes. and I always like to hear Susie talk about him and her memories of him. And he was a photographer, too. And she has all kinds of negatives of pictures he's taken through the years. And that's really important for our city history because there are some images he took of things that are no longer here, of people and places and
buildings,
and it's really important.
Yeah. Well, we had a council meeting last night.
We did,
and of course these right now are being, I believe we call it virtual.
They are.
Was everybody all six present last night?
Everyone was there last night. Every meeting that I've been a part of, everybody's been there, and they go really smooth. We still follow the same agenda program, I guess you could say, that we did before. I give announcements. The citizens have an opportunity to speak, and then each counselor gets an opportunity to speak as well before we really get into the agenda. So, on the Zoom calls, they work really, really well. They're smooth. We have to roll call votes to make sure that we get everybody in. But I still can't wait till we get back in person.
Yeah. What was big on the agenda last night?
Last night was a short agenda, really. But there was a couple things that stood out that I think are important for the people of Lebanon. It really affects them in a direct way. And one of those is we started the process to make an amendment to our noise ordinance. Mm-hmm. We're starting to have trouble of loud mufflers going up and down Main Street. Some vehicles have been, I guess, altered to be louder than they should be. So we started to investigate that and realize our noise ordinance did not really address that issue. So we started that last night. I know there's some issues in the center of town along West Main. Camille Burdine has really been talking about that a lot of complaints from people who live in that area. But it's really an issue all over town. Last night, I could hear him from my house, and I live a good distance from Highway 70. So, it's something we feel like we need to address. It requires 2 readings, and last night was the first reading on that, but it is going to pass, I believe. And I can tell you when I first realized this issue was during early voting. We all stood out on the sidewalk across from the Election Commission, and all day long there'd be vehicles coming off the square, and they'd start off at that red light, and they'd be loud. So it was an issue I knew coming in, and last night we started to address that.
All right, how are you? I mean, I guess I, I know if I'm standing there, and I know whether it's loud to me or not, but how are you going to determine how loud can it be, or how where you draw the line?
Well, that's a good question. It's really when, and Chief Justice explained this the other day. It's really when if an officer is a certain distance away, and they can still hear something, from a certain distance away. That's really the way you measure it, because we can't measure decibels and things like that. So so there has to be some kind of measurement. So it's distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of penalties are going to be?
That's a good question.
Have you not really addressed that yet?
We haven't addressed that yet. We have penalties for our noise ordinance for loud radios and things like that. And I'm sure the penalties will be similar to that. And honestly, I don't know what those penalties are.
Well, now, are you really just addressing the loud mufflers? Maybe that's the main thing right now.
That's the main thing right now.
But I have heard some people come in. It sounded like they had a boom box in that car, and that's loud and obnoxious too.
Well, it is, and that's been on the ordinance for a while. And that's something that our police department looks at as well. And that's something that I've met with the chief, and I've also met with Judge Flood to kind of find out how he operates as well. And kind of learn a little bit about our judicial system. But those are things that I've told the chief we really need to be on that.
Is this mostly younger people, teenagers, or those in their early 20s that's doing most of this?
I don't want to generalize, but that's probably mostly true.
Yeah.
Coleman, we both grew up here, and I know when I was in high school and that age, we liked to cruise the main and go up and down the road, and so I believe that's something that still happens.
Well, I'm sure you're going to get whatever you do is going to be fair here.
It will be.
And that's what we want. But you got to. Everybody has to be considered, and some people just overstep the bounds greatly here, and I hope it can be curbed.
Well, that's true, and we need rules, and everybody needs to follow the rules, and that's really it. We're not trying to limit anybody's fun or anything like that. We just want people to be considerate to everyone in the city.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Mayor Rick Bell is here. We'll take a break now, and more coming up on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, and they've got the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricings on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic starting to pick up now, finally, here on Vietnam Vets coming through Hendersonville. We're looking good right now as far as interstate accidents. Wrapping up that two-car collision, 2300 block at Dickerson Pike over in East Nashville. Traffic looks good coming down through Mount Juliet. Right now on I-40 coming out of Wilson County. Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies will be hosting Sleep with the Sharks March 27th. You can find out all the details at ripleysAquariumofthesmokies.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Philip Etherly with Absolute Rental and Supply. Whether it's cleaning, painting, remodeling, or simply getting better organized, we have the tools and equipment to get the job done. Scaffolding, paint sprayers, ladders, power saws, portable heaters, temporary lighting, generators, hardwood floor staples, from wallpaper steamers to bulldozers, Absolute Rental has what you need. Call 615-443-RENT. Absolute Rental and Supply. We have what you need.
The Farm Bureau Expo is your premier location for an event of any scale, making meeting in the middle easy and accessible for event planners and guests. The Expo proudly participates in the Tennessee Pledge to allow our guests to attend events with confidence. For booking details or to explore events to attend, visit farmbureauexpo.com or check out our Facebook page at Farm Bureau Expo. We look forward to seeing you at the Farm Bureau Expo in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. Rick Bell is here, our mayor for the city of Lebanon, and we're talking about last night's meeting. We haven't really gotten very far. Spent some time on this, but you're developing an ordinance that has to do with really loud noises, but in particular loud mufflers, I guess.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And that passed on first reading.
It passed on first reading. It requires another reading.
Right. Okay.
And it passed unanimously last night, so I believe it'll pass on second reading as well. One other issue that we talked about a lot last night and voted on is drainage issues.
Mm-hmm.
I know several months ago the city council set aside some money to work on some drainage issues around the city. We kind of sit in a bowl, and so there are problems all over town, to be honest with you, and the engineering staff has been looking at some different areas because you really have to start somewhere. And last night we started the process to work on 3 different areas. One is around the Mulberry Burdock area of town. Another one is around Cumberland Drive, West Spring Street, and South Greenwood. And then another one is over around Sam Houston School. So we're going to start that process, and we know that there are other parts of town that need as well. We have to start somewhere, and we will get to everyone. But last night the council voted to start the engineering phase of that, to start the planning, and we'll start working on that pretty quickly.
Well, what kind of work do you anticipate being done here to alleviate the situation?
Well, that's really a question for the engineers, and
But they feel like something can.
Something can be done. Now,
Right.
now what exactly can be done? I'm not sure whether it's some.
And it might not be the same for each.
Oh, it could be different for each
Yeah,
place.
okay.
And I know Jeff Baines is going to be on here tomorrow, I believe, so he might be able to answer those questions better. But it might require some different piping, some deeper ditches, or it just depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to start that process now.
I'm wondering, is it a fairly simple solution? Do you have any what it's going to cost or how long it will take? Sometimes a fairly simple solution can be developed rather quickly.
Well, that's true, and that's really what we're beginning now is really to investigate. Get the engineering team on the task of really find out what kind of work it is going to take. Now, once we realize how big the job it is, then we'll start realizing what the price of it's going to be.
Yeah.
But this is something that the city council for a long time has known as important. It's important to the citizens in the areas of town where we have these issues, and it's important to me. We always hear about flooding around the square,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not the only place.
Yeah.
And we have to get out there and start attacking that.
All right. So what actually would you just voted to start that last night?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does that require a second reading?
It does. It does. But because it requires spending money, so it always requires 2 readings.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What else did you do?
That was really the highlights for the agenda last night. But I do want to give people some updates on some other things that are going on.
All right, good.
Out at Baird Park, during the March 3rd tornadoes last year, our light poles were destroyed, and so those poles are being replaced now, and actually it's going to be better lighting. We're putting up LED lights now, which shines brighter on the field, and for the players, and also that requires less poles because the lights are brighter. So those are being put up now. They should be completed by the end of February. Lights installed and all. So they'll be ready for the softball and baseball seasons to start this year. So we're really happy to get that done for our kids and their families. And also we're starting a program to fix guardrails around town. There's some guardrails that the city is in charge of on city streets. And through the years, obviously, they've been hit a few times, and and they probably have other issues as well. So it is budgeted. There is about $80,000 put aside in the budget for guardrail repair, and these repairs actually came in under budget. So we're going to start the process of fixing those. But I do want to tell everyone that if you see any guardrails out there that you feel like need some repairs, please contact us, and we'll take a look at them.
And you're going to get some calls probably on ones that are state roads that you don't have any jurisdiction.
Well, that's
over.
right. That's true.
But you can report it, maybe.
Yeah, we have state roads, and we do not have jurisdiction over that. But call us anyway. We can tell the state and make sure they get on that. But on the city streets, this is a safety issue, but it's also an aesthetic issue as well.
It is, yeah.
Both. You don't want to have a bunch of torn up stuff.
Yeah,
on the side of the road.
really. If you have, those damaged guardrails, if they stay there and they kind of discolor or whatever, they tend to be an eyesore.
Oh, they do. They look bad, and they're not serving their purpose either.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm really proud of. We're starting on that, and And then one other thing are the cemeteries. Last Friday, R.T. Baldwin and I, he's over our special projects. We went out here to Rest Hill Cemetery, just across the road.
Right.
And that's one of the 3 cemeteries that the city maintains. And he wanted me to go out there with him, not necessarily as a mayor, but as a historian, to look at the headstones and see what really needs to be repaired and what doesn't. And so we walked around the cemetery out there, and that was really the last step that we needed to get headstones repaired in all 3 of our cemeteries. Rest Hill, of course, and Greenwood and Cedar Grove. And so now that we have that done, we're going to bid out the process to get them repaired. Now, some of the headstones were damaged during the tornadoes. If you ride through Cedar Grove, there's a lot of the obelisks that have been cracked and are falling over, and there are some that have been basically just shifted off their foundations. And then there's some headstones that are, just through age that need to be repaired, maybe just, need to be straightened. So once we finished with that Rest Hill analysis, now we're going to bid out that process and get somebody in here to fix our headstones and make our cemeteries look better.
Well, any particular ones you'd be concentrating on, or is it, I'm wondering about somebody that maybe has been deceased for 150 years or something. There's maybe has no relatives or anything. That's one thing. Somebody else that died 10 years ago who still has people.
Oh,
here,
absolutely.
is it their responsibility to take care of those, or how do you distinguish?
Well, it's, there are cemeteries, and you're right about that. Some are more recent than others, but we feel like it's our responsibility. We're in charge of maintaining the cemetery.
Okay.
And, and especially the ones that were damaged by the tornadoes. That wasn't anybody's fault.
And I have seen some that in driving through there where they just look like and they're probably way too heavy for even 2 men to go there and move back. You got to maybe have a piece of equipment even to do it.
And a lot of them have either just shifted, or they've kind of sank in the ground, need some dirt to prop them back up again. And and obviously those are simpler tasks. The ones that will be more difficult are the ones that are broken, and as you say, a lot of those are heavy. They have to be lifted up by a piece of equipment, and have to be cemented back onto the onto the base. So there's different levels of work to be done, I guess you could say. But the beginning process was really looking and saying, okay, what needs to be repaired? And I was really happy to be able to go with RT last Friday and be a part of that.
Yeah.
So we'll start that process.
Well, by the way, I'll just throw this out here. I went to the visitation for Al Ashworth, and I saw former Mayor Bernie Ash for a minute. And he says he's looking. He's looking well, and he said he is more relaxed. He doesn't have the burden of the city on him now, and he's enjoying life.
Well,
I thought you'd be glad.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, because I've known Bernie all my life, and I like Bernie a lot, and so I'm glad you saw him. I'm glad to hear that. I follow him on Facebook, so I see some of the places that he's been. Not long ago, he and Marcia went to Mount Airy, North Carolina, the home of Andy Griffith. And, I'm a huge Andy Griffith fan, like a lot of people are, and I haven't been over there, and I want to go sometime. But I'm glad that he's relaxed and able to enjoy life, and I also want to say about Al too. Al was a big part of our community.
Yeah.
And that was a big loss. I always enjoyed going to into Custom Color and just talking to him.
Yeah, we're going to miss him. Well, we've got about 3 minutes. What anything else from last night that you want to tell us about, or anything else on your mind this morning?
The only other thing that I really want to mention is the budget process starts soon, and I've been talking to Stuart Lawson about that. And one of the things I want him to do is update the council monthly about where we are in the budget process, and that started with our work session last week. That's part of my first 100-day priority, I guess, is to is more transparency in the budget process, and as we start the new budget process, one of the things I want to do is establish some expectations for the department heads right at the beginning. So, okay, this is the direction we're headed, and that really starts soon, and so. That's a months-long process, but we have to start somewhere, and that's now. And so that's something.
Well, let me throw this out here, because for at least 1 2-year period. That might have been all it was. We had a budget that went for 2 years.
We
and
did.
I think we went back to just a year. Are we going to stay on the year?
We're going to stay on the yearly one. I think that's better. I think that works better for everyone involved, to be honest with you. And the 2-year budget was an experiment we did a couple years ago. I was actually on council when it happened. And
well, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying something like that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, if it had worked better, you might want to do it. But
I just felt like we got halfway through it. People had a hard time determining a 2-year, that type of time period. And we got in the middle of it and realized, well, maybe we need more money than we thought. It got complicated.
And you had to make some changes. Of course, you do that anyway, but maybe you had to do more. And it wasn't as simple as it sounded.
It wasn't. It sounds simple in front. A lot of things look good on paper, and in practice, it didn't work out that way. And I think that was one of those. So we're going to stick with the yearly budget. Yeah.
Well, and I know you're going to be wanting to cut corners where you can, and you're going to be very aware of what's going on here, line upon line.
That's one of the things I campaigned on was really cutting into that budget, and those are the expectations that I have, is that we're gonna cut some things. So so you're right. That's right at the top of the list.
Well, let's see. You've been mayor what, about between 45 and 50 days,
something like that.
Well, is your plan? Are you pleased with where you are, with what you were hoping to get done in this period of time?
I am. I've worked hard. Everyone at the city has worked hard as well. I kind of laid out my goals, and they really accepted that, and we've been working towards those, and I am pleased at this point. Working on some planning issues, working on budgetary issues, getting some new businesses in town. We have new publics coming in now, so I have meetings set up with other people. So we've hit the ground running.
All right. Well, we've come to the end of our time here, but Mayor Rick Bell, our historian. Are you given up any historian responsibilities or anything?
I have. I don't teach anymore, but I'll always be a guest lecturer if anybody needs me. But I do have some history today. Today is National Disc Jockey Day, so I want to wish everyone out here, all the on-air personalities, a happy Disc Jockey Day.
Well, how about that?
Yeah,
I didn't even know we had one.
Well,
okay.
a guy from MJ's Facebook page. I'll have to admit that, but they picked today because this is the date that Alan Freed passed away. And Alan Freed was the disc jockey who coined rock and roll.
Right. Yeah.
But here's what nobody knows. His show, he copied John R. and Gene Noble on WLAC. So they actually started first.
Well, Mayor, thanks a lot for being with us. We'll see you next time. That's it for a Wednesday.